Hello everyone and welcome to Daria Draws. If you have watched this video, then you already know that I am very much into sports, especially fighting, anything that has to do with boxing or body combat. And of course, I'm channeling all of this inspiration into my art as well. So today I will be showing you how I did a diptych of a portrait of two fighters, one male and one female. So you will have two parallel videos on the screen with the whole process, and I will be explaining how I did that. Also, I used exactly the same color scheme for both of the portraits, but you will see that they have entirely different energies, and just let's get to it. Here I'm working on a very small format. Both of the artworks are just 20 by 20 centimeters, and I didn't want to make them look too complicated or too heavy. On the contrary, I wanted them to be very dynamic and easy to look at. So to start with, I decided to go straight into strokes and not concentrate too much on the sketch itself. As you will see, I'm first applying the darker skin tone and then kind of trying to block in the shapes with those strokes. And then I will be adding the drawing on top of that. Here I'm also working on an oil paper for the first time. I have never really used it before, and I discovered this excellent material for myself. It's very comfortable if you want to create a sketch-like painting. Oil dries very quickly on it, and it still allows you to build that texture. So I think it's pretty great. So here the challenge is actually leaving out the white spaces in the right places. So I sketched out the gloves and all of the minimal clothing that the female fighter is wearing. So I will be leaving that mostly white, and of course the background will also be partially white. Now I am using a mixture of just a few shades. The color palette is very limited, and I wanted to have the contrast in the poses, in the facial expressions, rather than in the different color palettes for each portrait. So here are just a few of the tubes that I have in my large collection, but these are the colors I have used for these few paintings. So I have kind of pre-mixed interesting shades on their own, like this Bordeaux and the warm gray. So it has like a cooler tone to it, which really helps in bringing out the cooler areas of the body. And the terracotta or ochre is definitely a more neutral kind of skin tone. Like, it's very nice to just add a little bit of pink or a little bit of that coral I showed earlier, and to just kind of mix them up. And for the background, you will see I will be using this St. Petersburg gray, and all of my paints are Russian, so yeah, I trust this firm, and I've been working with them, not with them, but with the paints for a very long time. Now you can see I'm slowly adding the drawing portion of the portraits. I'm using that dark Bordeaux I showed earlier to accentuate the facial features and to just add a little bit of sharpness into the painting. Even though this is a very fast artwork, I mean both of them are very fast and just done in one sitting, and I still wanted to make them look believable and make the figures have flesh and dimension. So I didn't want the paint to look watercolor-like, especially when it's oil. Like, it can be quite thick and textured. So of course I'm using that to my advantage, and I will be adding more texture on the shoulders and all of the protruding areas, especially on the face, to make it look a little greasy, sweaty, and disgusting. The few shades of skin tone that I had allowed me to mix them up between each other and create even more shades. So I did carve out every let's say element of the figure, like the shoulders, like the clavicles, muscles on the forearms, and of course the face, so that the figure does look dimensional and of course still has a flesh tone. I decided to make both backgrounds gray, just to kind of add a little bit of a cooler tone to the paintings, because the bodies, the figures, they are very hot in terms of temperature, so I wanted to balance that out. I mean, I could go in with a bright red, of course, and especially that they're fighters, it would look very good as well, but I kind of did that trick before and I wanted to try something else. So I decided to go in with the gray and to kind of neutralize the tone of the background a little bit, and also that helps in cleaning out the shapes, making some lines and edges a little more crisp, so that everything just looks a little cleaner, neater, and has a little bit of a background, which is nice. I don't like it when the background is just plain white or not worked on at all. Let me know which painting of these two is your favorite. Which do you prefer, the male fighter or the female? They're not actual people. I did use a few reference photos I could find on the internet, but I didn't want to copy them, so you're not going to offend anyone if you choose the other fighter. But I'm just curious, why and whom do you prefer? Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up and leave an encouraging comment. And if you would like to stay tuned for my future videos, you can subscribe to the channel or watch one of those over here, and I'll see you in the next one.